Hello, my name is Caleb Osorio, and this is my presentation for the Milestone 3 personal project. So first I'm going to be turning on my front end, which is React, and then I'm going to be turning on my back end, which is Flask. So if I go over here, do npm start, I go over here and I do python app.py. I'll be running my two scripts. So here I have my landing page, which is my home page. So let's move on. So for the requirements for the landing page, I did 3 out of the 4 for my last milestone. So the 3 that I completed in my last milestone were, as a user, I want to be able to view the top 5 rented films of all times. So here are the top 5 rented films of all times. As a user, I want to be able to click on any of the top 5 films and view its details. If I click on this, I'll be able to view all the details. So like the title, the rating, the year it came out, the genre, the description, things like that, and then all the actors and stuff. And then the third one that I did was, as a user, I want to be able to view the top 5 actors that are part of films I have in the store, which is right here. These are the top 5 actors part of the store. And then the one requirement that I didn't do, the last milestone that I did this milestone, is as a user, I want to be able to click the actors' details and view their top 5 rented films. So here, if we click on one of the top 5 actors, we can see their details. So it'll be their actor ID, their first and last name, and then the last time they were updated. Under it, we'll be able to see their top 5 movies. So here we have Goodfellas Salute, and then it'll have how many times like it's been rented. Here we have Mary Keetle, Matthew Carey, Sandra Kilmer, the list goes on. So moving on to the films page. So for this page, I was able to complete 2 out of the 3 requirements in my last milestone. So for the first one that I did last milestone was, as a user, I want to be able to search a film by name of film, name of an actor, or genre of a film. So here you can do adaptation holes, right? Academy, things like that, right? And then I can do actors, so I can search by Johnny, right? And these will have Johnny down here, Johnny Cage. And you can search up by last name as well. So there's people with the last name Cage, Cage right there, Johnny Cage, Zero Cage. So it's very flexible. And then for genre, you're able to search animation, right? These are all going to be animation, animation, animation. I think there's horror. So all these will be horror, etc. And then as a user, I want to be able to view the details of the film. So as you've seen me do, if I click on it, I'll be able to see the name, the rating, the year it came out, and the type of genre with the rest of the details, including like actors in the film. And then for the feature that I implemented in this milestone, as a user, I want to be able to rent a film out to a customer. So let's take, for example, if we scroll down all the way to the bottom, we'll be able to see the rentals. So total rentals are 6, so that means these are the rentals that are available to be rented. And then we can just do a customer ID here. So we can do, let's say, 34. Okay, so the movie was successfully rented, and you saw that it went down here, and the total rentals was changed to 5 because now there's 1 less. And then I think if we go here, we can do 1. So here, no available copies at a customer store. So we're going to see this later on, but customer 1 belongs to a user whose store is store number 1. So these two so what this tells me is that copies 10 and 11 are only in stock in store 2. So that's one of the edge cases that I identified, that a user shouldn't be able to rent out a film that's not in their store. And then obviously if it doesn't exist, if we can't find the customer, then it'll return an error that says customer is not found. So that wraps up the film page for this milestone. We've implemented all the features, and moving on to the customer page. So in the customer page, I was only able to implement 2 out of the 7 features last milestone. And for this milestone, I completed the other 5 that were left to do. So the first 2 that I implemented last milestone were, as a user, I want to be able to view a list of all customers using PageNation. So here we have a list, and we can move forward and we can move backwards, and it'll display all of the users. The other feature that I was able to implement last milestone was, as a user, I want the ability to filter or search customers by their customer ID. So if I wanted to, search up for all the names that start with SA, and then if I wanted to search all the last names that start with SM, or just S in general, it'll bring up all last names that start with S. And then we have member ID, so I can search up all of the digits, all the IDs that have the digit 1 in them at the beginning. If I want it to be more precise, I can search up all the customer IDs that have 20 at the beginning, or if I wanted to just search up for the customer ID that 200 belongs to, which would be Gene Lawson here. So moving on, as a user, I want to be able to add a new customer. So over here we have an add button, and then over here we have a table. So this is just like my information that my browser saved. So let's say my name is going to be Lara, my last name is going to be Smith, my email is going to be larasmith@gecko.com. My store ID, let's say I want to belong to store ID 3. And my address is going to be 2512 Laywayne Street, district. I'm just going to be somewhere district. My postal code just be random postal code. I can select the country. For the purposes of this, we will be in the United States. And then I can select any of these cities in here. I'm just going to say we are in Clarksville. Okay, so then we're going to be able to create. Okay, so we got an error. So request failed with status code 400. So why did we get an error? Well, like I mentioned previously, there's only 2 stores. There's store 1 and store 2. So if you're trying to sign up for a store that doesn't exist, it's going to throw an error. So let's change this to something like store ID number 2 instead. So now we get a successful message, and it'll clear all of these, and then we can just exit out, and then it should be in the 600s. So here we have Lara Smith. So here our customer, she's 608. She belongs to store ID 2, which we designated. And yeah. So that's how you're able to add a new customer. So if I just wanted to like send it forward, it'll like not let me because it says, first name is required, last name is required, email is required, store ID is required. All of these fields are required for us to be able to submit, it. And then for the next feature, as a user, I want to be able to edit a customer's details. So let's go to this. So here, once we open the pop-up menu, we can select edit profile. So here, we can change the first name, the last name, and the email. So, I recently got married. My name is John Stacy. I recently got married. Let's go ahead and change that so that it reflects my new last name. It's actually hyphenated now, so it's Stacy Helm. Save changes. Customer updated successfully. And right here, we just edited them. Okay. For the next feature, as a user, I want to be able to delete a customer if they no longer wish to patron at a store. So John Cena does not want to be a patron at our store anymore. So let's go ahead and destroy or delete John Cena's account. So here we'll get a little pop-up menu. Confirm to delete. Are you sure you want to delete this account? This cannot be undone. So let's press yes, and then customer deleted successfully. So then it'll reload, and then if we do 600, see John Cena isn't here anymore. Let's do by last name, Cena. Yep, John Cena is no longer part of our customer table. Moving on, the next feature is, as a user, I want to be able to view the customer's details and see their past and present rental history. So I actually did this one last milestone, but I'm presenting it now because it wasn't part of the ones that I chose to be graded. So here you can see the rental history. This will be the rental ID, the name of the movie, when it was rented, and then when it was returned. So if we scroll all the way down, this person has movies that they have not returned yet. And then moving on to the final feature, as a user, I want to be able to indicate that a customer has returned a rented movie. So how do we do this? Well, if we just select on this, it'll prompt us with a confirm to return. And then if we just press confirm, it'll say movie successfully returned, and it'll update it here. But let's say that we try to return a movie that's already been returned. So confirm the return. It won't change anything. It'll just say movie already returned down here. And then, if I clicked it on accident, I don't actually want to return this movie, I can just press cancel and it won't do anything. Yeah, so let's actually just return all these movies because this person decided that, hey, I'm going to return all my movies now altogether. That's all, and that is all the features that were requested for milestone 3 and 2.